I was thinking about coming in really hot, but I don't know if I can do it. I'm fired up tonight. My oldest graduates from Wisconsin Saturday. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Are
you fired up for the graduation or listening to JJ Watt talk?
Possibly meeting JJ Watt. I'm not going to lie. No. I'm going to
Did that make any traction?
No, of course not.
That man's too busy.
Yeah.
Slaying the game of life.
I thought about it. I should have done it beforehand. Hey, JJ, if I get 10,000 retweets, will you give me an interview or something? I should have done that. Although I hate when people do that. I think it's desperate and pathetic, but it sometimes works. You see these dorky guys getting dates with supermodels, so whatever. I guess it works.
I did reach out to my wife's friend who runs the Navy SEAL Foundation, who he just donated like 10,000 pairs of those shoes that he made.
He's always doing that.
Yeah, and so she's been talking with them. She told me he was going to be in her office in early April, so I was going to go down there, but he ended up having to cancel. And I was like, hey, can you reach out? She's like, I'll try, but it's so hard to get a hold of him.
Right. Yeah, I tried a couple avenues. I didn't try as hard as I could have, but whatever. I was just kind of casting a couple lines out there and see if I get any bites, and I didn't get anything. So, you're gonna make fun of me, Andrew. I did not realize that Debo was not even his real name.
Yeah, it's just a nickname.
I just figured it was his name.
No, his
mom. I was doing some research earlier, and I'm like, holy shit, because I saw that McGriff, that Crime Dog there, had wrote Debo, and I'm like, huh? So I did some research. I'm like, wow, that's not his name.
I almost did Debo for the nickname, but I got a pretty good surprise one, I think.
But then again, I think most people would fall in my category. They don't think it's a nickname; they just think it's his name.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what his first name is. I can't remember.
It's really weird, and he's got like a really cool middle name. It's like Zentavius or something. It's really wicked. It's like a really cool name, actually.
I wasn't trying to monetize the best nickname category. I was just jotting down the ones that came to mind there.
Tyshawn, that's his name.
What's his middle name? It's like
it's crazy. Not telling me. It's Wikipedia. They only give you so much.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like,
yeah, personal. Nickname Debo is given to Tyshawn by his father after the character named Debo in the movie Friday, which I still haven't seen.
I don't know how I'm gonna. Oh man. I don't even know how I'm going to edit this tomorrow. I'm going to be on the road all day, so I'll figure it out.
Just send it out, rough copy. Make it sound like garbage.
Yeah, I might cut it up just a hair and then send it. All right, guys. I don't know if I can do it.
What are you going to start out with? Fuck Zach Smith? Because, that'd be good
enough. No, I had the whole Good Morning Vietnam. I was going to cue that bitch up and just start going. All right. I can't do it, though. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody. This is Devy Happy Hour. This is episode 11, and that is Andrew tackling a donkey.
Sorry.
You can find us at Twitter at Devy Happy Hour. Our email is devyhappyhour@gmail.com. We are your source of knowledge for Devy information. We're going to do one more draft recap, and then we are saying adieu to the 2019 class. First up, we have a couple of guests tonight. Well, not guests. We have one guest, and one is my co-host, Andrew. Say hello.
How are we doing?
We are doing fantastic, man. And then we also have a guest, a guy that writes with us at BHH. I just a few minutes ago found out his first name was Matt. He goes by Commish McGriff on Twitter, and I've always called him Crime Dog. So, Matt, say hello, man. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. And yeah, my name's Matt Griffith, but mostly known as Commish McGriff.
All right, and he lives in California, and he's it's gloating about the sun there, and
it sounds like a total badass and looks like it too. So
works for an outdoors place and hunts and kills animals on his walls, and yeah, it's pretty sweet.
It doesn't suck.
No. All right, so what we're gonna do kind of a last ceremonial thing for our 2019 class. We got some superlatives, some awards, silly ones that they give out, in the yearbook, stuff like that. So we're gonna do that about the 2019 class. Kind of gloss over some things, maybe just kind of spitball a little bit about, some players we liked and where they landed and things like that. But then this is gonna be it. And after this, we're gonna talk about 2020 and beyond. So
thank God.
Yes. So Yeah, no kidding, man. Like as far as it's so hard to get excited about these offensive players, even after finding out where they landed. So, like, there's very few that I'm happy to get in rookie drafts right now.
And the unfortunate Doug Baldwin news is fantastic news if you're a DK Metcalf owner or believer, and Gary Jennings and John Ursua and everyone there now.
Yeah, I think Gary Jennings has a skill set quite like Baldwin, so I actually really like that there. So all three of those guys are walking into a situation where they'll be able to play. I mean, you still got Tyler Lockett there, but I mean,
he just
how scary is Tyler Lockett?
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of college news, but man, we had some NFL news today between Baldwin retiring, not retiring, but they dropped him. They released Cam Chancellor. Telvin Smith decided he's not going to play this year. So that leaves the Jaguars scrambling at linebacker a little bit. So there's some little bit of movement in the NFL today. I just saw that Kyler Murray signed his rookie contract, and a couple other guys are signing. So there's a little bit of movement on the NFL front. But
Eric Anderson retired.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that. Who's he? No,
man. I was going to say he's still in the league.
I was surprised too. I'm like, man, he's retired. I thought he retired 3 years ago.
Us Browns to 10-6, Brady Quinn's rookie year. So.
Oh yeah, one of the 35 quarterbacks that Cleveland had in the last 20 years.
And before Mayfield, I'd probably argue him and Brian Hoyer were probably the two best ones.
I liked Brian Hoyer, but of course he's a state guy, so of course I like him.
Of course.
All right, we're gonna get to our award ceremony. Da, 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 da. I don't know.
Is that why you did this?
No, I have a song for the end too. All right. First up, we have most likely to succeed. I'm going to hand it off. The first one, we're going to go to McGriff. McGriff, who's your first one the most likely to succeed out of this class?
I think we're all I speak for you and I, but Quinnen was definitely the first one that popped to mind. He just got it all, man, and I could see him being super successful up there in New York. But my favorite, and he's even becoming more and more my favorite, is David Montgomery. Everything here with that work ethic, with how he spends his weekends, with the Eagle Scout thing, all that stuff, and he's got a really similar story to Josh Jacobs, but Josh Jacobs obviously got highlighted a lot more with, not getting scholarships and having to fight for the one that he did get. So I just see him going to Chicago, kind of a hard-working type town, and I just see him being a real successful running back at the end of the day when we look back and go, man, like he had a good career,
Yeah, no, right. I think he's going to fit in perfectly. I mean, they kind of I've heard people talk about it this week where just because Jordan Howard's gone, they expect Montgomery to fit into that role, but he's so much more of a player and has so much wider of a skill set than Jordan Howard did. I think if you were going to put Cohen and Jordan Howard in one player, I think that's what you get with David Montgomery. He's shifty, but he can be that wrecking ball at the same time. Great out of the backfield, catching the ball. I think Mitchell Trubisky is going to absolutely love him. And I think it's going to keep him and Cohen are going to feed off each other and keep each other pretty fresh. Now, for his fantasy perspective, that's not necessarily the best situation, but
right.
As far as success goes, I think he has everything he needs to succeed there on a team that's just getting started and hitting their peak.
I just like it, too, that like Nagy came in and has been handpicking his guys, bringing guys into free agency, and just once again picking his running back to go into that offensive system. It just seems right, like all the way around,
Right, like the price for Montgomery was starting to depress, but I mean, you forgot how good he was in 2017. I mean, he was, the most forced missed tackles in history. Like since they've, he's a very damn good running back. Yeah,
it was like 198 or something crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Like he's amazing, and I think he's, I liked before the rookie drafts. You were able to get him, mid to late first, and now he's climbed up into the first half where he belongs. But I've even seen him slipping a little bit still. Like if you have the auctions that I've been in and have rookies, it's Jacobs and Sanders are getting all the love, and Montgomery's behind them, and he's got just as much chance to succeed. So, Andrew, who's your most likely to succeed?
Do we really need to ask?
You say Devo, I'm gonna throat punch. I'm just kidding.
It's gotta be Devo. Apart from Metcalf, as far as the receivers go, and Metcalf's getting it because of the injury. The Devo, I think has the best chance to walk in and be a wide receiver 1 on that team. Pierre Garçon's gone, and Pierre Garçon signed that big deal to come to San Francisco and be that guy for Kyle Shanahan. And he, between injuries and just playing and everything, never panned out. I think Debo can be a young Pierre Garçon in that offense. And if you remember him with Manning and in Washington in the early days, he was great for PPR. He's getting all the catches and everything. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think Debo can kind of be a Jeremy Maclin in that type of offense to Dante Pettis' Deshaun Jackson. So, and Jeremy Maclin was very serviceable as a wide receiver 2 in fantasy. And I think Debo, when he gets going, got to keep in mind rookie receivers take a year or 2 to develop. But I think his peak will be a wide receiver 2, maybe even a low end wide receiver 1, depending on what your draft strategy is. And then just to hit the defensive side of the ball, damn dog. To hit the defensive side of the ball, I kind of went with the homer pick here with Greedy Williams. If he would have been taken in the first round, he would have been expected to be a shutdown corner from day one, and he was going to be heavily scrutinized. But now he's going to be Denzel Ward's backup or counteractive partner on the defensive side. I think Greedy's going to thrive in that, and I think it's going to help Denzel Ward the same way Denzel Ward's going to help Greedy, to where no team's going to be able to pick and choose who they want to go against. I think kind of like how Richard Sherman was early on in Seattle, where the stats, he had a lot of interceptions and they looked really flashy just because people were still throwing at him. I think you're going to have the second half of Richard Sherman's career where he's not going to have the picks. But he's going to have the shutdown corner games where he's going to get talked about in that fashion.
I think you got the dog pound over there backing you up.
Mom, where's the meatloaf? Mom, put the dogs out.
Would you want some mini pizzas?
They're going crazy. That's more than I think I ever remember them doing it in the past. So, yeah, the only other one that I wanted to add was Devin White. I think he landed in a really good spot in Tampa Bay. I think Levante David will probably cap him a little bit early, but Levante David's is a good solid linebacker, but not a great linebacker. And Devin White, what's scary is he's only been a linebacker for 3 years. I think he's only going to get better, and I just love he's just the mentality and the way he plays the game. I think he's going to get better and better. And I think one day we will talk about him as one of the top 3 linebackers. I think probably 5 years, maybe 4 years. Yes, I think he'll get there. And I like him a lot and landed in a good spot there.
He was a running back coming out of high school, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's just crazy to me.
All right, next up, the best nickname. Andrew, who do you got?
Gut reaction was Hollywood. The second one was Debo, which was news to Dwight, apparently.
So, I did not know that was not his real name.
I had to dig for some draft nicknames. And the one I liked the most was the Mississippi Mustache, given to Gardner Minshew.
I love it.
I never knew that was his nickname. Otherwise, I would have brought it up to him.
Dude, that's awesome.
I think
like a porn star.
I thought
he just won that category.
But then I saw Mississippi Mustache, and I was like, I would have killed to have known that when I talked to him.
So good.
I got nothing. I can't follow that, man.
No, he won. I mean, give him the award.
Scary Terry, maybe, but that's a great nickname. Although, man, God, does it sound like a porno? Anyways,
everybody else is number 2 and moving on, right? Like Mississippi Mustache, that's gold.
That is fantastic. I love it. Good work there, man. Yeah, I got nothing. All right, most dependable. I'll start with mine. I think Andy Isabella is going to be there. I love. Everybody knows if they've listened to this that Andy Isabella is one of my favorite players, and he will be a very good. He's in a spot where he'll grow with Kyler, and Kyler's going to need him a lot early. I think Kyler's going to stretch the field. He's a good quarterback that can stretch the field, but I think he's going to rely on Isabella a lot. And Isabella is just going to be that. I hate saying it, but that typical white slot guy that catches 100 passes and is always open. 8 to 10 yards, gets that first down when he needs it. So for me, it's Andy Isabella. Who did you have, Crime Dog?
This first one might be a little surprising, but I'm thinking Damian Harris. And my reasoning is, one, the Alabama ties. I think of Alabama guys and it just being dependable as NFL teammates, NFL players, not necessarily looking at the fantasy outlook or the dynasty outlook, but Sony Michel is not really dependable. James White has been, but I could see Damian Harris being a contributor, on the football field from day one, a reliable guy, a healthy guy, but easily being fantasy relevant too, mid-season, some part during the season where he could be an easy flex play, kind of what everyone wanted Rex Burkhead to be maybe, but I just see him being a dependable guy that you want to have on your actual NFL team, and I love the fit there, and I can picture him being really, really successful there.
Right, I like crap. Go ahead. Oh, I can see him filling the LeGarrette Blount role.
Yeah.
He's obviously, I think, a little more talented than LeGarrette Blount ever was. Not quite as much of a plotter, but he could definitely fill that role that, Belichick has always favored in the past. Andrew, who do you have for most dependable?
Also, does Damian Harris have as good of a straight right as LeGarrette Blount? We got to talk about that boxing technique he showed up in Boise a couple years ago. As far as most dependable for me goes, we kind of talked about him a little bit earlier too, Devin White. I think he was as much of a sure thing as there was in this draft. A linebacker going to Tampa, I think he's going to be great there, taking that Quan Alexander role. But then I also thought we talked about it a little bit in the DHH chat this week. Miles Sanders, I think, in Philadelphia is the most talented back that Doug Peterson's had since he's been there. And I think he's found his Jamal Charles, which was Brian Westbrook to Andy Reid type of guy where they've got all those other guys. They've got Wendell Smallwood and everybody else there to just kind of be feeder to what Miles Sanders' workhorse is going to be. So I think Miles Sanders in Philadelphia is going to be fantastic. I can't wait.
Right, I like that because a lot of people have – that's the argument they're using. Well, Doug Peterson's never had one back that he's leaned on, but I don't think he's ever had a back that talented. I think they wanted Ajayi to be it. They wanted it, but it just didn't happen. And I think Miles could be it. So I like that. All right, next up, the next superlative is most likely to retire in 3 years. I felt kind of mean doing this one, but why not? Screw it. Crime Dog, who you got, man?
Same thing, man. I felt bad even saying it, but Bryce Love, who is already rumored to be looking towards his next career even before the draft. And as much as he gets banged up, man, I love the guy. I want to see him succeed, but I could see him walking away from this in a couple of years and saying, one more big injury and saying, all right, I'm off to go get my doctorates. And kind of with that same stroke, Rodney Anderson's another one who I loved pre-draft. I had him as my RB4. Terrible landing spot, but as much as he gets banged up and, the next big injury, or not the first next big one, but the next big one could be the last one. So I don't know, man. These running back shelf life's already short, so I could see either one of those guys or both of them being gone out of the league in a couple of years.
Right. Andrew, who do you got?
Yeah, no, I kind of piggybacked on what he had there with the injured running backs with Bryce Love, Rodney Anderson. There isn't a lot of guys outside of them where they have coming into the draft this big injury history. I know you're going to probably hit on the other one there, Dwight, and I'll leave that for you. But like I was going through the picks and I was like, there's nobody that really sticks out to me. Like, wow, on paper, I'm like, wow, 3 years they're going to be done. I do think though, just for our weekly Michigan State jab, this should have been called the Tony Mandrich Award, I think.
No. Didn't Tim Tebow retire in 3 years? Anyways.
He won a playoff game, thank you. And a movement. He led a movement.
Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to take the low. I thought I have Hollywood wrote down, and I feel like that's a low hanging fruit. I think his draft capital is going to keep him in the league, just like John Ross's has. So I like the love pick, Anderson. I was trying to rack my brain and think of like one of the more higher profile ones that won't be in the league, but I think that the injury concerns of Anderson in particular are going to be the biggest issue.
I almost said Metcalf too, for what it's worth.
Yeah,
neck, you never know.
That's a very valid concern as well. Yeah, he's, it's scary. The 1.6 body, what is he going to be able to take the beatings? If they start sending him over the middle or something, is he going to be able to take that? So I don't know, man. Yeah, that could be a valid one as well. So we could say Daniel Jones too. That'd be kind of fun. We picked on him enough, so let's go Daniel Jones.
I got that covered later. Don't worry.
All right. Most likely to end up in the Hall of Fame. This is like the one guy who you think is going to be that damn good. And Andrew, do not say Debo. Like I swear. I will whack you with a stick if you say Debo. Anyways, Andrew, who's your guy?
I went with probably the most off the wall one, just because I think it's a safe pick, and I think of where he landed. He's going to be in a very favorable spot to produce some nice numbers. I would go with a Pittsburgh boy, Chase Winovich in New England. I think he easily could be a 10-plus sack guy and a great run support guy in New England. Take that Mike Vrabel role, mix it in with some Dante Hightower, and just kind of be that great outside linebacker and edge presence that Belichick's been killing for a while now, arguably since they had the very old Junior Seau and Mike Vrabel, like I mentioned. So I think Chase Winovich in New England he'll be one where he won't be the super flashy, but like when you look back, you're like, man, he was a good pro sort of player. So I'm going to go just for an outside the wall pick, Chase Winovich.
I like that.
So you're going to make the Hall of Fame his little brother. Anyway. Couldn't resist.
Anyway, to get him on the show.
I know. I tried. I'm dejected about asking people, but I'm gonna start asking again. I don't care. We'll get somebody on eventually. So I mean, I think I have Quinnen wrote down, but I also don't know. Like he's very, very good, but I also worry that he's not going to be Hall of Fame quality character. That level is really hard to get to, especially in defensive tackle. I'll actually go with another defensive tackle as well. I really think Ed Oliver has got a good shot at it as well. I just think he ended up in a really good situation where he, as long as he has lines where he's not the only guy, I think he's got some chance to make an impact. So there are several defensive guys, that you can make a really strong case for that landed in really good spots. So Crime Dog, you don't have anybody wrote down. Who did you think?
My first thought was Quinnen as well. I love the Winovich call, Andrew, but honestly, I looked at this one, I was stumped. I was like, there's nobody that's like lock loaded, like that's where I'm putting my money. But when I went back yeah, exactly. But when I went back and looked at it, the one name that did jump out to me, if I had to put money on it, would be Chris Lindstrom, the center that the Falcons took from Boston College. And I know that's kind of a little bit bizarre or whatever, but I loved him. I'm a Raider fan, and I wanted the Raiders to snag him badly if they could in the early second, but he clearly didn't go that far. Just one of those grinder kind of guys, if I'm quoting Gruden, but plugging away for the next 10 years and being one of those guys that, super dependable, super durable, and good teammates. So that's the one thing that jumped out to me.
Right. It was hard. This one was really difficult. There was a lot of defensive names I think you could make a good case for. But, yeah, not many offensively. I almost thought about N'Keal Harry because I think if New England can continue, I mean, obviously he's going to be good with Brady, but what are they going to do after Brady's gone?
Right.
What's the identity of the team going to be? You would think they're not going to get lucky enough to find that guy that's going to be the quarterback that leads them to 7 Super Bowls in the next 20 years. So back to back, that's not very. It's pretty damn rare. So
you have faith in Jarrett Stidham.
I have a ton of faith in Jarrett Stidham, but I don't think he's Tom Brady. I have gotten Stidham in. I think I'm in 6 rookie drafts. I think I've got him in every one of them. So I am aggressively targeting him. All right, this is kind of a more fun one. The most popular. Woo, popular. All right, Andrew, who do you got there, man?
Sorry, I was reading one of Frank's hot takes.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, how distracting those can be. Most popular, I took, again, we've already talked about a little bit. I'm just going to go with DK Metcalf. We've alluded to it already. The body fat thing started, then the photos started, and now the unfortunate Doug Baldwin news today, I think, is just going to make this grow even bigger to where I think DK is going to be, if he wasn't already, a top 2-3 dynasty pick in rookie drafts. I mean, you could see people jumping him over Montgomery, Sanders, or something crazy like that, just because of the situation. And then he's already, like, they posted videos of him running routes, and they're all saying, oh, well, they said he couldn't run routes. I mean, it wasn't anything over the top impressive. It's just rookie OTAs, essentially. So while I'm trying to remain level-headed with the DK hype, 99% of the population is not. So it's very easy to chalk him in as most popular at this point.
I haven't seen a lot of him off the field. Like I don't know what his off the field demeanor is like. That's why like I went Quinnen and Fant with mine because I feel like the little I've seen of them both, they're very, very like funny and like charming. Kind of like you could see people gravitating toward him. So I wonder what DK is actually like. I haven't really seen much of him off the field. So
I haven't either. He did the ESPN media tour the one day before the draft, and he handled that very well. But that doesn't give you a fair idea what someone's like when they're just hanging out or whatever. Fan wise, I think Metcalf is the most popular.
I can see Haskins falling in that too. He's kind of a likable guy. I remember watching the Heisman ceremony, and I thought he was the funniest of those three guys by far. Like he's kind of.
Kyler has such a great personality. It's so flowing and
voice. I don't have him on any of these. So, all right, Crime Dog, who do you got for most popular?
Real fast though, has anyone called BS on DK's body fat percentage? That can't be real.
Oh, I don't think it's real, but it's still fun to mention.
Yeah, no,
it's creepy.
I kind of went more so like on the fantasy side, and the first one that came to mind was Mecole Hardman. Like his popularity, talking that kind of contest, is just skyrocketed with the selection by the Chiefs. I don't know anybody that was really targeting or talking about him, so it's one of those things. He got instant fame. And then the other one I wrote down was Hawkinson. I just don't know I haven't heard anybody say one bad thing about him outside of landing in Detroit. Everybody likes him as a talent. Everybody likes him as a prospect. Everybody likes him as an NFL player. So he's one of those guys. Like he's Mr. America almost, Captain America, I guess.
Right. Oh, I could definitely see him being incredibly popular as well, like amongst his teammates and things like that. I put this one in, and I almost put do not pick DK. Most athletic. Crime Dog, who do you got?
A couple of guys jumped out, and the first one is the one that you didn't want to talk about, but that's Kyler. I mean, it's hard to not think about the most athletic guys in this draft and not put him in it. God, he's just a athletic machine on the field, Jalen Hurd, obviously, to me, he's a super athletic guy where he's playing multiple offensive positions, has been successful in everything that he's done so far. But he's one of those guys like he's usually one of the most athletic guys in the room. And then staying true to my defensive line roots, Ed Oliver, watching him play, he's got some feet and hands that it's exactly what you want. He just looks athletic doing it, just in a much bigger body. So those are kind of the big names that jumped out for me when I thought about this category.
Who you got, Andrew?
Are we doing most athletic?
Yes, most athletic.
Sorry. No, I think the easy answer is Kyler, just because he was a top 10 pick in two sports, which has never been done before. But then I thought, again, just another Michigan State dig. I thought Devin Bush looked very athletic, ripping up Sparty's logo at the 50-yard line during the year. Just the technique he used and how quick his feet were, just super, super athletic. But in all seriousness, his 40-yard dash time, I think, proved a lot. His 3-cone drill was decent as well. And I think he's just going to be a very versatile linebacker at the next level because of how athletic he is.
Right, and I actually took Noah Fant, and offensively, I mean, it's obvious good Lord, he did things at the combine that tight ends aren't supposed to do. And then Montez Sweat did things that a defensive lineman that's 270 pounds isn't supposed to do as well.
With a heart condition.
Yeah, exactly. So both of those guys, I think, are going to be athletic freaks in the NFL and will probably make pretty damn good paychecks just off their athleticism, even if they don't even produce that well initially. So I like both of those guys quite a bit.
No doubt.
All right, so the smartest player in this class. Andrew, who do you got for smartest?
I went with I kind of cheated, academic All-American with Christian Wilkins out of Clemson. I also think him being in Miami, I think he's going to do really well with Brian Flores. Together, those two will have a lot of success, I think. And then, of course, anybody that goes to Duke has to be smart. So I had to go with our boy Daniel Jones.
I have to give him
some credit.
Yeah, we're on the same. Sorry, we're on the same page with Daniel Jones, and I think part of that is, he's a Duke guy. Yeah, he had the highest Wonderlic score. But that whole thing where if you hang out with a bunch of buddies or a bunch of dummies and you're just kind of smart, you look way smarter than you are. So Daniel Jones, he could thank Dave Gettleman because he's going to look like he can't look bad in his deal. Like he looks smart no matter what happens. So if he doesn't do really well, it's Gettleman's fault. If he does really well, then he looks like, one of the best selections and smartest players in this deal. So I don't think he has a bad outcome in this, really.
Right. I like Cleveland Farrell. He graduated in 3.5 years. And you just see it on the field. He's the guy that, is tough and he plays that role well, but he's smart. You don't see him get baited by linemen. You don't see him, make stupid plays and make mental errors. He's a just highly intelligent player. And I think you can't downplay what Hawkinson has done in basically, 1 full year as a starter to be as complete of a tight end as he is. You can tell he really understands the game. And I think that's just going to get better. I think he's, I think it's a little underrated on how intelligent he is. He's just a tight end and he's a blue collar guy that does it, does everything. But I think you can tell that he's a very intelligent player just by watching him. I mean, it's just, to me, it stuck out. I thought he was like an incredibly intelligent guy. But so in our last superlative of the 2019 class, Crime Dog, who are you going to vote for the class clown?
Well, I think for me, Christian Wilkins took it when he took the stage and almost killed the commissioner. Awesome. that was so good, man. I was a little nervous, but he obviously likes to have some fun, and he was obviously excited, and he's shown his emotions. So that's a guy that I like to hang around. And I know that doesn't really count, but my honorable mention was Dave Gettleman, and not because he's funny, but because he's a clown. So I don't know, man. That's funny. I mean, the first thing that came to mind was like, man, can Gettleman can we give him a nomination here? So no, but I like Wilkins. He seems like a character, and he's obviously having some fun.
All right, who you got, Andrew?
I heard down Dave Gettleman just because when I heard he fell in love with Daniel Jones after 3 series at the Senior Bowl. I mean, who does that? Who falls in love with somebody that quickly? I mean, yeah. Ted Bundy did, but look what he did afterwards. I mean, Gettleman in class at this point.
Holy shit.
Yes, I just compared Ted Bundy to Gettleman.
Next level comp.
So, greatest comp I've ever done in my 1.5 years of doing this at this point.
I can't follow that up either. So,
but in all seriousness, I saw the same Senior Bowl stuff that Dave Gettleman did. At number 6, there's nothing I saw from Daniel Jones for number 6. The first day, Drew Lock looked phenomenal. He looked like he was a lock for 10 at Denver. And Daniel Jones was throwing balls in the stands. And I couldn't believe it. I still can't. But, I mean, I'm rooting for Daniel Jones just because I want him to be proven that he's not going to be a bust. But at the same time, I hope he plays bad enough to where Gettleman loses his job.
I feel bad for Daniel Jones, honestly. Yeah, like, that's his dream to get drafted there, and he did, and everybody's making fun of it, and I feel bad for him. Hopefully it motivates him and he does go out and succeed. So he's got some work to do. And I had initially put Haskins down. I'm just going to go with my boy Quinnen. You can tell, I've seen several interviews. He is just a clown. I mean, he's a goof. He's a big kid. I mean, if you told me he was 16 years old and in high school, I'd believe it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
He's just goofy and silly, and he's goofy on camera, but goofy and not so goofy that he gets in trouble. Like, what was that one game where he backed off on Andrew? Kyler Murray, there you go. Yeah, and he kind of like backed off. You can tell he's playful and fun like that. So I bet he's a clown. All right. That is the last of our superlatives. Anything else you guys want to talk about in this class? Anything kind of stuck out in the draft that you want to talk about?
It's going to be dog shit compared to 2020.
Oh.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
Just saying.
Well, that's what makes me nervous too. And then everybody's dropping these. Oh, I hope all the underclassmen don't declare and just
me.
Push the 20. Yeah, you and I'm like, man, here we go, right? But no, I don't know about you guys, but how far into the first round where all of a sudden you were like, man, like I almost wanted to just go do something else. Like it got so depressing so fast.
It was rough.
It was just such a letdown, man. I was looking forward to that. It was an eventful weekend, but I don't know.
Yep. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. We say bye to our 2019 class. Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road.
Why don't you have DJ'd? I swear to God.
I hope you have the time of your life.
I hate that song.
What's as I love Green Day, and then that song like just totally like I'm like, no, don't do that, Green Day, don't sell out.
That became all the graduation songs in
It
the
did.
early 2000s.
Problem is it's funerals, graduations. I'm moving out of my parents' house.
Funerals.
Anything.
Oh man.
I love it, Andy. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna do just like a kind of a quick look ahead at the 2020 class, and like Crime Dog said, I've seen several drafts where these auctions where guys had a lot of money and they're just like sitting on it, you know. So and these huge like stockpiles of draft picks, they're just like sitting on it, you know. They're not spending it. So like it would be kind of funny to see like 4 or 5 of the top 10 stay. But you know,
my running backs, just to give an idea, I've got 24 running backs on my watch list at this point, not my rankings because I haven't dare gone that close into it. Only 6 of them are seniors. Everybody else is an underclassman. So, I mean, even if it's just a handful of them stay, it's really going to throw a wrench in things.
Right. I can see. Now, do you think there's anybody that may not declare? One name that sticks out, honestly, is Cam Akers. Like, if he, you know, he sticks out. I mean, I think J.K. Dobbins possibly.
I was thinking about Dobbins just because he had a really bad year last year. I think this year is going to depend a lot. I'm just going through the list here.
Yeah, like if they start, you know, if they let Fields have the ball and he doesn't put up spectacular numbers again and he thinks he's going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick, I could see him staying. I think guys like Jonathan Taylor, Etienne, Swift.
Yeah.
Although Swift, maybe.
I can see Etienne staying.
I don't know.
Because of Clemson, they had the defensive linemen all came back for their senior year just because they wanted to do something special. And I think if he got to play with Lawrence for one more year, I think they could see if they win the title this year.
I think he's gone, yeah.
Yeah, but I think if not, they could kind of have like this whole unfinished business thing like they had this year and potentially come back. Same with T. Higgins, same thing. So
right, I could see T saying, yeah.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor's gone. I mean, he has so much already ran off his legs. And then
I was just kind of thinking.
Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was just thinking the guys that, you know, because there's inevitably going to be a couple guys that are going, you know, once first handful underclassmen declare, then it's like the Justin Herbert of this past year, right? It's like, okay, who's going to stay back and go, this running back class is getting too deep already, and now I'm going to fall to the 3rd, 4th round or whatever. But I'd say Swift would declare for sure. And just because there's so many backs in Georgia, man, there's, you know, the next wave where it's just, here they go, right? Just keep pumping them out every year. But Etienne is the one I was going to say. I could see him staying one more year.
Right. As far as quarterbacks, I could see Fromm possibly staying. I know it sounds crazy.
He's a Georgia kid. I could see it. I mean, his whole family loves Georgia.
Right. I could see him, but I think guys like, I mean, obviously Herbert has to go. I don't think Tua is going to stay. I think he's got his brother coming up on his heels. He's going to let him play too. Yeah. You know, there's a couple. Let me see. Eason, he's a senior. He has to go. I'm trying to think of some other ones that. What was that?
My kid's going to bed.
Right. I could see, you know, the wide receivers. I think Judy's gone. Chenault's gone. You know, I don't think those guys are going to stay.
Right.
Like you said, T might, but he's also got Ross and then Ladson on his heels as well, so he might not stay as well. So there's a couple of guys. It'd be interesting, but I mean, even if a couple of these guys stayed, you're still looking at a freaking amazing class. So, like,
does Najee stay? You think he comes out?
I don't know. Possibly. And he's got a lot coming up on his heels too. So, you know, is he going to get worried that he's not going to beat him out? You know, like, yeah, I would think he would leave regardless. They could also run into that situation if they got to the championship game and had a close loss. Maybe they want to come back and, you know, maybe Tua does come back. Maybe Judy does come back. You know, you never know. Just depends on how important that is to them. But I don't estimate these. This is just a spitball, and I don't think any of these guys are probably going to say most likely. You might have a couple just because they're going to think their draft stock isn't as good or whatever. So, but this is my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
So does Oklahoma keep the Heisman in Norman and go 3 straight, or what?
I think I'm excited just to see what Jalen Hurts happens to his draft stock.
Yeah.
Because I watched all my quarterbacks on my watch list and graded one game, just to get an idea of where my rankings are being going in. Hurts is kind of right in the middle of the pack. I don't think, as a runner, obviously he's more talented, but I think as a passer, especially as we saw in the SEC title game, I think he's developing a little bit. But I think with Lincoln Riley, he can really take the next step. I mean, he'll have flashy numbers being in that offense, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Let me ask you this, Andrew. If the Ravens take Nick Sorley as that backup to kind of fit in that scheme behind Lamar, Jalen Hurts would be a much better backup than McSorley. I guess I'm thinking out loud. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, they were talking about McSorley trying to, or potentially even doing that Julian Edelman transition eventually. But, I mean, no, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts. I think he's a way better athlete and a better passer than McSorley. I mean, McSorley, I don't know if you've listened back far enough, but I talked about it before where at the Senior Bowl, he was getting questions about going to the AAF or playing something else completely. So I think the NFL is kind of aware with his skill set. I was kind of shocked to see him drafted and not someone like Tyree Jackson.
Right.
But at the same time, it's how the league's kind of moving, and that's what Baltimore wants to do, is just have a fail-safe. But, yeah, no, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts than McSorley backing up Jackson.
Right. I had kind of forgot that, the freshman year at Alabama, Hurts wasn't a bad passer. Right. He had 380 – he tried to throw 380 times. He had a 62% completion, 2,700 yards, 23 touchdowns. I mean, he wasn't like a garbage passer. So I just – hold on. Go ahead and talk.
Oh, yeah, no. I was going to say Hurts was great until the second quarter of the national championship game 2 years ago, right? I mean, he had a great career up until that point. So I don't know, man. How quick we forget and how quick guys get thrown to the wayside. Lock up the next guy, right?
Yeah, and he'll have players like CeeDee Lamb there helping him too. I mean, CeeDee Lamb I think is going to be a better receiver than Marquise Brown was, and he also has tight end Grant Calcaterra. I think I'm saying that right. I'm probably butchering it, but Oklahoma tight ends, we know what they can be with Mark Andrews being pretty successful so far after a good rookie year. So now I think Hurts will jump up a little bit. Another one just to talk about kind of like mediocre quarterbacks that I'm kind of interested to see who had a great bowl game is Joe Burrow at LSU. I want to see what he can do. I know Jim Nagy's already tweeted out that he's on a Senior Bowl watch list. He's definitely somebody I could see going to Mobile and really kind of having that Jarrett Stidham type rise and go from there.
Hey, I'm going to say his name wrong. The Texas quarterback, is he a sophomore this year or junior?
He's a junior. He's a true junior. Sam Ehlinger.
He's a lot of fun to watch too, right?
Texas Tebow.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
Sorry, a name that had been creeping up radar that I don't know much about. You said you're starting to watch the quarterbacks, and I saw that Mello was watching them today. Is Jordan Love?
I absolutely hated Jordan Love watching him today. I don't know if it was the game I watched or what, but I got halfway through it and I stopped grading just because I was like, "There's no way everyone's talking about him that much to where this is how bad he is." So I didn't look at the box score of it or anything. I tried not to like pick and choose games I watch. I kind of want to go into them and just kind of be blind. So I'm not going in and be like, oh, he had 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I should expect that out of this and kind of affect the grade that way. But the game I watched was really bad. It's just a lot of, you could tell he knows he's the best player on the team. Obviously being at Utah State and being a decent quarterback will make you that way now, especially now that Darwin Thompson's gone. But I think with Jordan Love, he was just trying to make too many plays. Like there was a couple times where he was just throwing off his back foot or just scrambling around and just throwing it upfield. And the game I watched, he had 2 interceptions called back because of late hits on him. So he got very lucky in that sense.
Oh, yeah, because I saw a couple of people, like drawing a blank on who it was, had, Tua, Herbert, and then him. And I'm like, huh,
I think
I
it
didn't
was
know much about him. So,
Fairbaugh. Is how you say his name, Fairbaugh or Farbaugh.
right.
Had him because he also had to Eric King, who I haven't watched yet.
Right. And there's a couple defensive guys coming up the pipes too. I think that we've mentioned it on the owner's manual that Bryce Young from Ohio State, or Chase Young, sorry, just nasty. Probably better than Bosa. Like I love, and he's gonna really get a chance this year to pin his ears back and see what he can do. AJ Espinosa from Iowa. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here.
Anthony Jennings in Alabama, I'm excited for.
Dylan Moses is really, really good.
Yeah, they're talking about him potentially being a Heisman candidate for defensive side.
Right.
And then another guy that you liked last year during owner's manual was Gross Matos from Penn State.
Yep. Your boy Grant Delpit, Derek Brown from Auburn. I mean, there's some really good guys that are going to go top half first round.
CJ Henderson.
Yep.
From Florida. He has that great play where Debo had a breakaway on a slant against Florida, and Henderson comes from cover on the other side and chases and tackles him at the 5 to save a touchdown. So
there's some, it's going to be another really, really good draft. Like
next year's draft is more offense heavy, but you've got some really big, heavy hitters that'll be first round guys for defense.
I saw one 2020 mock that had like 5 Alabama defenders in the first 2 rounds, man. But what's new?
Yeah, Matt Miller does. Yep.
Yeah, Matt Miller
kind of flipping through Miller's. Miller's right here. He's got Anthony Jennings. Shoot, my browser froze up.
9 Alabama players in the top 50.
Oh, there you go.
Dylan Moses, Terrell Lewis.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs, freaking Judy. Trayvon Diggs. Raekwon Davis.
Oh yeah. Forget about him.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid how Clemson and Alabama are just reloading so much. It's ridiculous. But oh well. So that's just kind of a quick look, and obviously we'll look a lot more. Like Andrew's starting to watch quarterbacks. I'm still trying to wrap up some work for DLF on offensive guys, and then as soon as I get through that, I'm gonna start kind of seeing if I can put together a Devy board. I've been asked many times, about Devy defensive rankings. It's something that really isn't out there and something I want to try to do. So that's what I'm working on. I don't know. Andrew, you ready? You got anything else or?
Nope. Left the scorecard this week. That was my exciting news for the week. Nothing bad. I've got something in the works that we're pretty
excited. Really excited about that. All right. Well, first we'll say goodbye to the commish. Crime Dog. Matt, can you tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter and what you're working on?
Yeah, man. So Commish McGriff on Twitter with the DHH guys, getting through a lot of these rookie drafts and kind of formulating some trends and seeing what's going on. And I plan on writing a couple articles. I'm a big fan of the late round guys where I think you can strike some gold. So you'll see more stuff from me on that, but really just digesting all these rookie drafts to see what's coming up next for the article side. But Commish McGriff on Twitter.
All right, Andrew, tell them where they can find you at, sir.
Find me on Twitter as always, at Mandrew NFL Draft. Like I said, nothing right now. Going to be coming out of the Score Crow. Stepped away from that to work on something else. It's going to be, I think, a lot more fun and beneficial to anyone that's been following me along the way and just following us, Dwight and Dynasty Happy Hour and Devy Happy Hour and everything else that we've been putting out. So it'll be fun. In the coming weeks, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I do plan to announce it when we do on here. So keep listening for that.
Right. And I want to thank you, Matt, for coming on, and thank you.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Yeah, everything. You can find me on Twitter at FFPeoplesChamp. Find my work at DLF and, here, and keep continuing to reach out to us. I had over the last 7 days a guy that I was basically walking him through his first salary cap defensive player draft, and it was kind of crazy. He'd send me screenshots, and I'd bid on this guy, do this, and it's a lot of fun. Reach out to us. I know Andrew loves doing that stuff too. So, just find us on Twitter. send us something at the handle. We're at Devy Happy Hour. We haven't really gotten any emails yet, but you can email us if you want, devyhappyhour@gmail.com. We'd be definitely more than happy to take some time and help you out. Until Andrew gets bigger than Matt Miller, he'll help you out too.
Yeah, okay.
So, all right, guys, we will. Sorry for the long pause between Devy Happy Hours too. We were both we got caught up in the draft coverage, and the next thing you know, 2 weeks had passed, and we're like, oh my god, we haven't done the show in a couple weeks. So we will definitely be back with you guys here pretty quick. So next time, 2020, and we will talk to you guys later. All right, nice. Kind of was flailing a little bit there at the end. Woo!